Hi, I'm Bradley,
And I'm Brendan.
and on today's episode of Story Proof, we are going to be talking about Nosferatu from 2024.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, I'm still kind of sick,
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's been like a week and a half now, and you're still kind of
it's
dealing with
two
it.
and a half.
Like,
I'm going on 2.5 weeks, and it won't go away.
but we are going to soldier on and power through and
Yeah,
try
you're
to do
going to
this
power
thing.
through. I'm sure you'll be fine. Look, if I go into a coughing fit, just roll with it.
Well, I'll make sure to edit it out if we do.
Nah, it's fine. Leave it in. People like the rawness.
But yeah, we are going to talk about Nosferatu from 2024.
Mm.
I know that I am much higher on this movie than you are.
I do not dislike it. I find it a little too slow.
Yeah.
I can do slow burn movies. I love Eggers' everything else, but this one's a little much for me.
The slowness doesn't bother me so much, just because it's the tension and the everything else. Like, it doesn't bother me as much. I can see where people might feel it's a little slow,
Yeah,
the burn, because there's not a lot going on. It's literally just Eggers for 2 hours pulling the band of tension, trying to make everything go, and then getting that one final cathartic snap at the end.
and I will say, I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
I did not feel tension. Once you see his dick, I'm pretty much like, all right. And then, yeah, spoiler alert. There was a bit of tension in the beginning, and then once Nicholas Holt is back in town, it's kind of the Willem Dafoe show at that point. I'm just here for Willem Dafoe screaming like a maniacal madman while setting shit on fire. Fuck yeah. Best scene of the movie. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Well, we just gave everybody a whole lot of stuff right here.
Oh yeah, Nicholas Holt is in the movie and Willem Dafoe set shit on fire. Giant spoiler alert. Also, there's vampire dick. Giant spoiler alert.
Of course, if you are listening to this, presumably you've seen the movie by now. We don't. But
Well, if you haven't,
otherwise-
there's Nicholas Holt, vampire dick, and Willem Dafoe on fire.
Yeah, that's
I can feel you getting annoyed with me.
that's a lot of it.
So this movie is, we've mentioned it a few times, Robert Eggers. He is a beast. I got to give him super props, man. He has done, this is his fourth film, and he has done, I think, knockout work with each of them. So his first movie is The Witch, sometimes called The Vivitch, simply because of the way that it's written. Just like for me, I never say Megan anymore. I say Mithrigan, just because that's the way it looks to me. But he did The Witch in 2015, and then he did The Lighthouse in 2019, The Northman 2022, and then Nosferatu in 2024. I have not seen The Northman. That's the only one of these I have not seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
But I saw The Witch, I think, back when it came out. I think I was back into horror movies at that point, and enjoyed it. Thought it was a little but then at the end, I'm like, you know what? This is so solid at the end of it that I can roll with it. I really enjoy this. The Lighthouse, fucking loved it. Granted, I'm obviously a nut for Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
That movie is just he and Robert Pattinson chopping it up for the entirety of the movie. It is batshit fucking crazy. I love it. Northman, I've heard very good things about. It's got a freaking stacked cast. And then Nosferatu, I mean, it is a good film. Don't get me wrong. I did not have a bad time at all watching this. I personally like The Lighthouse a bit more, but I probably like Nosferatu more than The Witch. The Witch is a slow burn, but it's a little more. There's not as much going on.
Yeah.
It is a family.
Yeah, it's just a family who's slowly being drawn apart by forces outside of their control.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went and saw this. Was it the day it premiered? Like right after Christmas?
We watched the day after Christmas.
So yeah, it was. We watched it in theaters, and yeah, it was an experience. Eggers is very well known for his attention to detail and his like historical accuracy, to the point that like he in the Witch he had them speaking like 17th century English and everything else. And the way that this guy shoots a movie with all the natural lighting that he's got going on is insane. The Witch is entirely lit by like candles. They've got just candlelight lighting shots in this movie. When you get into the dark, into the housings and the castles and stuff, like you said, he is a beast of a filmmaker, and we are always in for a treat when he does something.
Yeah. One other thing that he does in his films that I particularly enjoy is the way that he does casting. Dude, he gets some people and he sticks with them. So, again, you got The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Northman, Nosferatu. Willem Dafoe is only not in one of those films. Already a big fan of that. Anya Taylor-Joy is in The Vivitch and the It is so hard not to say The Vivitch. She's in The Witch and The Northman, and then Willem Dafoe is in Lighthouse, Northman, Nosferatu. We do have a Skarsgård in this one. We've got a Skarsgård in Northman. Like, he does such a good job of using a lot of the same people, and then on top of all of that, you do also have Ralph Ineson in this one and in The Witch. He's got the coolest voice I've ever heard. I mean, he easily has the coolest fucking voice.
It's kind of funny because I don't think I feel like I remember you not realizing that it was Innocent. What is it that you didn't recognize Innocent, or that you didn't know Innocent was in the movie?
I didn't know he was in the movie.
Oh, okay.
As soon as he opened his mouth, I'm like, "Fuck!" Obviously. Right now, there's a video game that is widely popular. It's called like Claire Obscura 33, and it is just blowing up. He voices a character in there, and it is the funniest shit because this character is like almost like a Marvin the Martian type. He'll just like say really depressing things that are funny and then keep going. You're like, oh, okay. It's like, I haven't played the game yet, but like watching his clips, I'm like, is this a comedic character with this cool, sick ass fucking voice? Yes. He's hilarious, and it throws me off in a good way.
It works, I guess.
And yeah, he and Willem Dafoe in this buddying up. Fuck yeah, dude. I would watch an entire movie series of those two just being batshit crazy, doing drugs, and solving mysteries together.
To be fair, Innocent does have one of the best lines in this movie, where after the guy bites the head off a pigeon, he's just like, in a very calm voice, "My good fellow, why would you do that?" But yeah, so Nosferatu, this is obviously a remake of like the classic silent era film from F.W. Murnau.
Yeah, honestly, in researching for this, it's called Nosferatu: A Symphony of Horror.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever actually realized A Symphony of Horror was part of. I thought it was a tagline for the film. I did not know it was part of the title.
Yeah, it's usually a subtitle, but nobody ever like actually references it like that. It's just Nosferatu.
That's fair.
And honestly, a lot of people only know Nosferatu nowadays outside of like film watching. If you watched like SpongeBob as a kid or something like that for this Nosferatu joke, or if you saw the Werner Herzog remake from the 70s.
Oh,
but
yeah, it is interesting as well that this is some people say remake, different telling of the same story. It is 102 years after the original.
Yeah.
Original Nosferatu was 1922.
Yeah.
And this one is 2024.
And I will say the original Nosferatu is public domain. It's available on like YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a silent film, so a lot of people are going to have a hard time getting through it. Even I have a hard time getting through it at times.
Yeah.
But it's a worthwhile watch just to see, like, this is a majorly influential film in the history of film and filmmaking in terms of its direction, its writing, it being the, like, start of many vampire and horror tropes in film.
We talked about it a little bit. When you watched it, was there music?
Yeah.
See, when I watched it, there wasn't. It was truly silent, and I'm like, this blows. This is the most boring fucking thing I've ever seen. Oh my god. And I'm trying to watch it because I'm like, I respect it.
You're just willing.
And I'm just like, please let it end. Oh my god. Which I think is strange because that's something that I've heard other people talk about. Is some of these old big air quotes silent films is that a lot of them would have music played behind them, and then when you take that out, it is literally sitting in silence just watching. Boy, it changes your representation of the film a little bit.
But it is also interesting to think of how far film has come in that way. Like, that was the norm. Everybody found that so interesting and so fascinating back in its time because it was so new. And now we're like, how can I do this without dialogue and music and everything else in between? Like, it just cannot be. But
I also have a funny story about seeing this in theaters. So, I may have mentioned it before. I'm on time or early to everything. Brendan is late to everything.
Usually.
Literally always. The only time you're on time is if you ride with me. I was giving him shit a while back, as I do, about... I was like, I want good seats to this movie. I'm sick and tired of us having these god-awful seats because you get there late to everything.
And when he says late, I'm still showing up like 5 or 10 minutes before curtain.
2. Usually 2. Fuck that. That is a lie from the gates of hell. 2 minutes before the movie starts. Maybe 2. We are usually walking in and the trailers are already going. So I was like, I'm tired of us getting bad. He's like, well, we got good seats for the last movie we saw. I was like, Brendan, it was Nosferatu the day after Christmas. There were 4 people in that theater. We were half of them. We were not having to fight for seats for the vampire movie the day after Christmas.
But we should have been.
Yeah, and then literally the next movie we saw, shitty seats.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I want good seats. Yeah, this film, if you haven't seen it, I would advise seeing it. I do not believe this has been a particularly divisive film. Pretty much everything I've heard is people saying it's good, or it's good but maybe not quite their cup of tea, which I think is where I kind of am. Yeah. Some people think it's excellent. I get it. Yeah,
the movie itself doesn't seem to be divisive. It's more just some elements of the movie seem to be divisive, particularly some of the performances and other various things.
There's one in particular that I saw a clip of. I mean, it's Lily Rose Depp. There's a clip of her like losing her shit towards the end, and people are like, "This is great." I'm like, I don't like this. I think this is too much. But that's just me. Excellent cast. Like, shit, dude. From top to bottom, you've got Bill Skarsgård as Vampire Dick. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean Orlok. You got Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin, Ralph Ineson, Willem Dafoe, and all of them I think are doing just an excellent job.
Yeah, this might honestly be one of my favorite like Nicholas Hoult performances.
Fair.
I think he's phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah.
It's also just funny that he's done a second Dracula-esque movie.
Yep.
After Renfield. It's just funny to me, and they're completely different tones.
Yeah.
But
he, in particular, the first chunk of the movie, once he gets to the castle, the way that he portrays the like trying to be strong-willed person, but is very clearly being like broken down, and the fear, but also the resilience that he has. It's good. It's really, really good shit. Yeah. And then there's even a scene later on where we get a flashback back to him at the castle, and it's good shit, man. Especially the fact that he's right across the screen from fucking Bill Skarsgård, who is fucking putting in some work in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
To the point, if you don't know that it's him going in, you're not necessarily gonna realize.
Never in a million years would I have guessed that was him.
Like the way that he's able to affect his voice, the gait, the makeup, and everything else. Like, it's so he worked with, I think it was an opera singer or something, to be able to actually lower his voice, and there was no digital alteration to the voice according to Eggers. It was all just Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
In that. So, like,
fucking bullshit.
Amazing.
I will say the first time we watched this, the mustache threw me at first. That mustache deserves a scene credit of its own.
That is one of the most accurate versions of Dracula, though, because in the original book, he has a big bushy mustache.
Yeah.
Like that. And the only other Dracula I can think of that ever has a mustache is Gary Oldman when he's young and in England.
Yeah. That's
so
fair.
It's funny to me. This was one of my favorite films of last year. I'm much higher on it than you are. The slow burn doesn't bother me as much. And I think a lot of that is probably because I'm more the film nerd, like the technicals and everything else.
Mm.
So, like, this one speaks to me a bit more as an artsy sort of movie than it does anything else. But I guess we want to get into it.
Sure. In the beginning. By the way, gonna go ahead and say straight up top, maybe the horniest movie I've ever seen. There is porn out there that is not as horny as this fucking movie. Oh my god.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say.
I was like, go ahead, disagree with me.
I can't disagree with you. It makes some sense because the vampire is intrinsically linked with sex in a lot of ways. Just thematically and everything else, even going back past Bram Stoker's book. But it is what it is. It's a major theme of this movie. So we're just going to get that out of the way right there and go.
Yeah, because we're about to talk about the opening scene, and bro,
Yeah.
it is, it's a bit much.
The opening scene is Lily Rose Depp, who plays Ellen. She's a teenager, and she's very lonely. So she's calling out into the ether, into the universe to...
Girl, do you want demons? Because that's how you get demons.
She's looking for some sort of companion because she's different. She doesn't have friends. She's just kind of locked up in this house that her father has. And so she calls out into the universe and awakens Count Orlok.
And they do a lot.
So immediately you get immediately like one of my favorite shots, which is just her when she comes out of the shadows and she comes and you have the windows and everything flapping around and you just see Orlok's shadow there in the middle. You saw it in all the trailers and everything. So it's such a cool shot.
A lot of stuff with shadows in this.
Yeah.
Particularly with him.
Yeah. And then they have their little thing where he's like, do you pledge yourself to me and all that stuff. And she agrees. She goes out into the garden, and then...
Go ahead. Describe what happens next, Brennan.
They're getting it all.
Orgasming while lying on the ground being fingered by a possibly vampiric Orlok thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not just fingered. They're kind of fucking. It's hard to tell because he's kind of not there.
And then... you do in this moment it's very quiet. It's just Lily Rose Depp doing her thing. And then you get this big jump scare moment where you get your first kind of glimpse of Orlok. You don't really see a whole lot of him. But
we're going to see a lot later. I'm going to be this way the whole time.
I know. And so she screams and then title card, and then you get her waking up from a dream. It's years later. They don't really specify how many years later, but now she's married to
Thomas Hutter.
Thomas Hutter, and
probably just gonna keep calling him Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, and
they seem like a good couple.
Yeah,
like they seem loving. It seems genuine.
Yeah,
she's a lot hornier than he is. Because literally in this opening thing with him, he's like, I got to go to work. And she's like, well, we could fuck. And he's like, girl, I got to go to work.
Yeah.
This is a one-income household. I got shit to do.
Yeah, this is 1830s Germany. So it's not a dual-income family.
Yeah.
They do have a cat.
They do have a cat.
Or maybe it's just a stray cat that jumps into their house or something. I don't know.
I like to think it's their cat.
And it's named Greta.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a nice little callback to the original Nosferatu. The main actress who played Ellen, her name was Greta, so that's fun.
Huh. I know that. I just saw a cat and I'm like, this movie's better.
So yeah, Thomas needs to get to work because he's like, I got to get this big account. I got to make money so that we can have the life and the house and the family that we all want to have. So it's like, so he runs off, and she's just immediately morose about it. Like and with her psychic connection, she knows like something bad's about to start happening.
Huh. I thought she was just mad because she got cock blocked, but whatever.
Well, I mean that too. And then so you get Thomas walking through the streets of Visburg, the town where this is set, and like the set dressing and everything else going on.
Already,
Amazing.
already the set design, all of the buildings, the streets, the outfits, everything is immaculate.
Yeah.
It is unreal how real all of this looks.
Yeah.
Like, if I did not know better, I would swear that this was filmed in one of those like ancient cities, towns that's like somehow untouched by time, and they're just like, oh, let's just put costumes on and go film here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so he gets to the firm. We learn that he's kind of like the early version of a realtor, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he does the same. He serves the same role as Jonathan Harker does in the original Dracula novel, which is he's being sent by his proprietor to Count Orlok to seal the deal to sell a big estate in the town.
Knock.
Yes, in this one it's Herr Canuck.
Yeah.
And
when you first meet him, he seems like a normal person, and you're like, oh, okay. And then literally the next time we see him, he's like naked in a summoning circle. You're like, oh, wow, that changed quickly.
Yeah, but there are little moments in his dialogue and the way that he talks about like Ellen in this first scene where it's like, okay, something's a little off with this guy.
I think in this they play it more like he's a slightly creepy older man boss.
Yeah.
I did not know where he was gonna go. I did not see point A to point C. I did not see his little comments leading to point B.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's a little bit of a weird dude. Naked in a pentagram? Okay, wow. We went 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
I will agree that there is a bit of a jump there between first scene and next scene.
I think it's good, though. Like, in a good way.
Yeah.
It is very clear that Nicholas Hoult is like a new up-and-comer. He is noticeably younger than all of the other men at this office as well. He's trying to make a name for himself, and the guy's like, hey, you should go sell this unsellable house. He's like, got it. Where is it? He's like, it's not close to here. Cool, I'll travel. I got this. So that is the opening kind of plot point, is that he is going to sell Orlok this mansion. It is not a pleasant house. Apparently, it's very unsellable because of the shape and condition it's in. But he is going to go... he's going to go try to sell this house to Orlok. And then this is really where like the psychic stuff starts. And she's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, babe, money. I got to go.
Yeah, he specifically, Canuck tells him that Orlok cannot travel to Visburg because he has one foot in the grave, so to speak. So
very funny line.
Very, very good. So
that's almost one of those where he should say the line, look at the camera, and wink a little bit, and then keep going.
They're just finding all these excuses to get Hutter specifically to go to Count Orlok and isolate him. So yeah, he brings Ellen Lilacs to apologize because he's like, hey, you remember how you said you didn't want me to go to work and everything else, and we just got married? Well, now I got to go on a 3-month journey to the Carpathian Mountains.
Okay, so, bye.
She's unhappy about this, and she talks about on their wedding day, she had a dream that she was having a wedding with death. Mm-hmm. And when she looked out, everybody was dead. That was it in attendance. And that she was happy about it.
What a strange coinky-dink.
And then this is where, after they have their little argument about whether or not Thomas should go, and obviously Thomas gets the upper hand, he's like, you can stay with my buddy. And this is where we get to meet Aaron Taylor Johnson and Emma Corrin.
Friedrich Harding and Anna.
Yeah. They
are adorable.
They
at first. It gets a little weird at the end, but
yeah, they work at first as a couple. They have 2 kids with a third one on the way.
Yeah, and it's very obvious that they really like each other, even beyond like loving, like they like each other.
Yeah,
and it's a very nice, wholesome part in this. He talks about how he just can't keep his hands off her. I mean, clearly 3 kids.
Yeah.
And they're very cute together. There are a lot of times in this movie with them both as a couple and with individuals where the way that they treat Lily Rose Depp, I think there are times where it's meant to be like maybe they are, I don't want to say like mean, but they're not as sensitive to the way that what she's going. But at the same point in time, I'm on the other side being like, no, this bitch is crazy. The shit that she's saying, the shit that she's doing, I feel like they are responding the way you're supposed to.
Well, that's kind of their function in the story, especially Aaron Taylor Johnson as Harding. Like Harding's very much the realist. He's the guy who knows everything that's going on that should be normal and everything else.
But they are they're good friends. Like they take care of her for a long time. They're very well off, very wealthy.
Yeah. He
runs the shipping company or owns the shipping company.
Yeah, he like took it over from his father or something like that, and he owns it. So he's a very prominent and influential member of society. So we get a nice little bit of foreshadowing here because the kids run in as they're getting ready to be put to bed, and they're like, "No, the monster's under the bed. We don't want that."
Spoiler alert, those kids gonna die. That was probably the first time in the movie where I was like, holy shit, they really did that.
Yeah.
Look, I gotta be honest. I don't hate kids. But watching them die in horror movies, I always appreciate it because there's a certain level of taboo of like, you're not supposed to do that. When movies do it, I appreciate movies crossing the line. When you get to see it in movies, I'm like, oh fuck, okay.
Yeah.
That's like some serious shit.
Yeah. Usually it's done off screen, if anything.
Yep. This one, you see some chomp chomp.
Yeah, not so much. And so Friedrich is like, well, I'm going to go hunt a monster under the bed, and they all disappear upstairs. And Ellen once again tries to get it on with Nicholas Hoult.
Yep. Her horniness knows no bounds. Literally no bounds. She will fuck a zombie if she has to.
But she does that with a point at the end.
It's still a zombie kind of thing. It's gross.
Nicholas Hoult goes off to start his journey, and we kind of leave Visberg behind for a little while.
This is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
It's him traveling, him seeing the people, the story stuff we get here. It's a good shit.
Yeah. So Nick Hoult as Hutter. We're going to keep doing this.
You're the only one saying Hutter. You are literally the only one trying for Hutter. We both said we were going to say Nicholas Hoult, and then you started saying Hutter immediately.
Yeah, I know. It's a thing. So Nicholas Holt's character, he goes riding off. You see the usual time passing, and then he lands in this village in the Carpathian Mountains. I guess it's kind of a motel of sorts, an inn.
Yeah.
Like a stopping point, and there's just this big Romani gathering outside of it.
And they are dancing and playing music, and it seems like a good time until he mentions Orlok.
Yeah.
And then it's not a good time.
Yeah. As soon as he mentions Orlok, it's like a big taboo with everything. Yeah. Everybody stops. But eventually he's able to be like, hey, I have money. I need a room. Can I get a room? And the innkeeper is like, yeah, I'll bring you into my wife. And so the wife brings him to his room, and she starts speaking in her native language, trying to warn him, about Orlok and how he should not go to the castle, which is it's a really nice little turn on this because, in Dracula adaptations, a lot of times they're speaking broken English about this kind of thing, or it's just like, it's played off like Harker will straight up ignore this warning to not go to the castle.
Yeah.
But here it's like you have the language barrier. Yeah. So it's...
And it's so funny. She's like in her language being like, don't go, you're going to die. And he's like, whatever you say, pal.
Yeah. Nicholas Hoult wakes up in bed to this little chanting and parade where...
It's weird, but I can roll with it. Not just because she's hot. Yeah, the Romani people literally have a naked chick on a horse, and they are looking for something.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be that in an old legend, you would offer up a virgin to lead you to the vampire in the ground. Like if you suspect something's a vampire, it would lead you there, and then you can stake it, and it would be done. So that's basically what's going on here. She's up on the horse, and everybody's following her. It stops at a certain grave, and then they impale the thing. It actually like
Yeah, it fucking
reacts
screams.
and
So
screams.
you're like, is it a vampire?
Yeah, and then
We don't know.
and then Holt, and then Nicholas Holt is like, "Stop in the name of God!" Everybody looks at him, and then cut to the next day. He wakes up,
And he is in bed with muddy boots on.
yeah.
So it's like, did he dream it? Did he not dream it? Spookity, spookity.
This is really that start of like what is real and what is not. What is he actually experiencing and what is not? And sort of Eggers often in his interviews described this movie as sort of a fairy tale in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the way he wanted to shoot it, so it plays with that sort of, is this real? Is this reality? Is this just a part of everything? He wakes up the next day, and the Romani people are just gone. They've cleared out.
So is his horse.
And his horse is gone too.
Those bitches.
I guess they took it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he starts just walking his way towards Orlok's.
You know what? I'm glad he does, because coming up is my favorite shot of this fucking movie. Probably my favorite moment in this movie.
This is absolutely gorgeous. It's phenomenal.
So there's this scene where he is walking through the woods, and there are these like two paths that tend to look like they converge. It looks like a giant just like cross in the middle.
Yeah.
Like one giant path comes across, one comes across the other. And we were talking about the lighting earlier. The way that this is lit with just like moonlight, it is the coolest fucking thing. Mm-hmm. And this carriage comes up from one of the paths in front of him, and as it gets to him, he like stops, he goes up to it, and the door opens on its own, and I'm like, dude, I am so into this. This is cool as hell.
Yeah. It almost has the feel of like a moment in time in a snow globe, because there's snow falling all around everywhere on him.
Yeah.
And everything else. And when the carriage stops in front of him, it's not even drawn by like horses or anything.
Yeah.
I don't think
it's just a carriage.
So he actually like floats into the carriage like he's in a trance and he's been taken at this time. But the snow effects are really cool too, because it's done with an old like old time film sort of technique where they take potato flakes, like freeze-dried potato flakes, and they just throw them around, and it looks just like snow.
I thought that was funnier until you said freeze-dried. I just imagine people with chunks of potatoes being like, yeah, make it rain!
But, yeah, so he ends up in the carriage, and we get another really metal shot of the carriage approaching the castle.
Yeah.
And you have the wolves chasing after it. And God, it's said by, I feel like, everybody who talks about this movie, but just about every shot in this movie could be a painting if you wanted to frame it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, the shot of the moonlight in the woods at night when the carriage is there is my favorite shot. I mean, my second favorite has got to be the fucking shadow hand going out over. That's just fucking
that's a great
sick, dude. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we're to the castle.
Yeah. This is Orlok's castle. I know a little bit in the behind the scenes. This is actually the same castle that Werner Herzog shot his remake at.
I did not know that.
It's different parts of the castle. Like Robert Eggers was very much against using that castle because Herzog used it. But then he was like, okay, we're going to use all these different things that weren't in Herzog's film, so it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And this is actually a castle that most people feel is the one that inspired Bram Stoker's description of Castle Dracula in the book.
Mm.
So Thomas shows up. He kind of ethereally floats out of the not even floats. He just it transitions from him like in the carriage to all of a sudden him standing in front of the gate.
Yeah.
And the gates automatically open, and looming in the distance is just the silhouette of Orlok. Yeah,
and then he is going up to meet him. They start talking, and the entire time that they're talking in the beginning, Orlok is always cast in shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So you only see little bits and pieces, but I mean, you can see from the bits of skin that you can see that this is not a well man.
Yeah.
Something's going on. He's kind of rotting. It's gross. But you do get to hear that fuck his voice. It is so fucking cool. It is so low. And it sounds it's very cool because I think it sounds very low and scary without going like guttural sounding.
Yeah.
Cuz you could play this a lot more, I think, animalistically than he does. He does a pretty good job of playing the animal, but still also the sexy guy type character thing. I can't speak on that one too well, but I like that his voice is deep and scary without sounding almost fake.
Yeah.
But I really think it's cool. They start talking, and I mean, you can tell from every interaction that they have that Orlok's just kind of like fucking with him. Like, he's just fucking with this dude. He is so many steps ahead. He kind of messes with him a few times about like he would ask a question, be like, "Oh, you sure you're not hungry?" Blah blah blah. He asks, like, he's just fucking with him, and it's kind of enjoyable because poor Nicholas Hoult is just about to shit himself.
Yeah, Nicholas Holt's already acting his ass off. He's uncomfortable. You can tell that he's kind of already under the thrall of Orlok, but he's like, something is messed up here, something's wrong, and he's just very upset.
Mm-hmm.
Orlok offers him food and commands him to eat the bread, and this is a direct callback to the original Nosferatu, where he starts cutting the bread, he nicks his finger, and that's the first like zoom punch in moment you see like Orlok's eyes, like, be careful of what you do because the blood is tempting him. And then everything else in this scene is just surreal because they start trying to talk business and everything else, but at the same time, as Nicholas Hoult gets so much more uncomfortable, everything starts to shift. Like, you don't know where Orlok is in the scene because perspectives keep shifting. There's one really cool moment where it almost looks like a statue near the fireplace is turning to look at Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
And, like, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a moment towards the end of that first initial meeting scene where the camera's sort of pushing in, like Orlok is approaching Nicholas Hoult. And then it cuts to the next morning, and Nicholas Hoult is lying on the floor, I think in the dining room still there. Maybe it's his bedroom. I can't remember.
I was thinking it was his bedroom, but I wouldn't bank on that.
And he doesn't know what happened, and then he finds the bite mark here, right?
Yep.
So
finds the first bite mark,
and it's right on his chest rather than traditionally on like what a vampire would do with the neck.
Yeah.
Tradition and stuff like that.
And I've heard a few people talk about that with the idea of, you biting the neck is very classic, but if you're biting someone to drain their blood, the idea of going over the chest, you're right above their heart.
Yeah.
So there's a certain symbolism of you're right there.
Yeah.
Which I don't hate it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. So yeah, he finds the bite mark on his chest. He's like, huh, that's kind of weird. And then the next night, Orlok has another conversation with Nicholas Hoult, and he wants his locket. And in the locket, there is a bit of Ellen's hair in it.
Yeah.
So this is, very reminiscent of Dracula's story where he gets a bit of it, becomes obsessed. And then he's like, oh, I love this locket. This is so great. Okay, cool. Here's the document. Slides document over. Just go ahead and sign this, and the house will be mine, and you can get paid, and this is great. And it's written in a language that Nicholas Hoult cannot read. And he's like, sir, I can't read this. And Orlok's like, nah, it's fine. I love the way I'm doing these lines. Like, this is what the actual lines are. Orlok just being like, nah, bro, you fine. Just go ahead and sign it.
It's totally up and up. It's just about the house. And
it's just the house. You're not signing away your wife or anything. It's just the house. This does not say I can bang your wife. Also, here's money. When I looked it up online about this, I thought it was written in just a different language, just something that But a lot of people online seem to think, or I don't know where this came from, is that it is like the signing a contract with the devil. This is an occult stuff. I don't really think they say that in the movie.
They don't say that in the movie. There's a lot of like occult imagery in the movie, because it's just the kind of thing that Robert Eggers does when it comes to this sort of thing. A lot of what ends up happening with Nosferatu, with Orlok, is that it's actually going back to old, I believe it's called Dacian. It's like an old Romanian cultural identity and an old language in the Romanian area, and so a lot of it goes back to that, because Orlok's supposed to be something that's 200-300 years old. He's out of like the 1500s or something like that. Like, he's old. So I always thought maybe it was more of like an old Dacian thing. Like, it's just, but it's something that Hutter is not going to be able to read. So he doesn't know what he's signing, and then he gets his quote unquote 30 pieces of silver with the payment of the gold and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The occult thing. I mean, it ultimately, I don't really think matters that much in broad terms, because I mean, he's still going to go about and do whatever he wants because he's Orlok.
You get the occult stuff mostly in like the scene where Canuck is doing his thing in the office, and then with the pentagram, and then you have the books and stuff that he has that ultimately von Franz and them find once they start investigating Canuck a bit more.
Yeah. But honestly, from here in the castle, it's pretty much...
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult wants to leave. He says, "Sir, I don't feel very well." And Orlok's like, "Nah, bro, I fucking love my versions of these lines. It's like, "Nah, bro, you're not feeling well. You gotta stay here until you're better." Nicholas Holt's like, "No, I gotta leave." He's like, "No, I said stay here until you're better."
Yeah, it's a bad omen to leave when you're feeling unwell or something like that.
So then he's like, "Fine, I'll stay here. I'll feel better." And then he wakes up with more bite marks. He's like, "All right, fuck this. I'm leaving."
Yeah. Interspersed with this, we do get little cutbacks to Visburg and to Ellen, where you get just kind of a little bit more background. There's one where she and Emma Corrin are walking on the beach, and they're talking about her dreams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Ellen is talking about how there's something else like calling to her, and Emma Corrin's character, Anna, is talking about, is it God? Because they're very much the ideal sort of, and Ellen says it's not God, it's ecstasy. Like, it's something else, ethereal, something you can't understand. And it just sort of serves to show how out of place she is in this world and everything else, and how that connection, now that Thomas is gone, is starting to come back between her and Orlok and stuff.
So there is a nice thing about it. Almost feels like his love for her and the relationship she had with Nicholas Hoult is kind of what was keeping everything at bay.
Yeah.
And when he's gone, it's just the floodgates.
Yeah, because at the end of one of these scenes, she ends up having one of her seizure fits.
Yeah, so we do also learn that she is having seizures, has had seizures before. She sleepwalks a lot. Yeah. And the doctors are like, you know what she needs? Drugs. So many drugs. This is where Ralph Ineson comes into play as well.
Yeah.
With that unbelievable voice. I will say his mutton chops are a bit much in this. They deserve a cast list option of their own.
Yeah. We first meet Ralph Ineson when Canuck gets found and committed to his asylum,
bro.
And
like, it's fun. Okay, so did you say that is your favorite line of the movie?
It's not my favorite line.
Damn, I was hoping it was.
But it's up there. It's because his delivery is so nonchalant.
Yeah.
In it, he's like he's just watched a guy bite the head of a pigeon off, and it's like, well, why would you do that, my man?
Because I was gonna say it'd be really funny if that was your favorite line, because my favorite line is when Orlok is like, "I am not a creature, I am an appetite."
Yeah,
That's my favorite fucking line. I was like, that'd be really funny if mine was really edgy and yours was just like, "Good heavens, good sir, that was a pigeon."
Canuck gets committed to his asylum. He bites the head off of a pigeon. He's ranting and rambling about how Orlok is about to make his way back to Visburg to get his quarry, and then
Yeah, so this is another thing where we're cutting back and forth. So like, which one happens at which time is a little hard.
yeah,
The last thing that really happens in the Orlok Castle for now is that Nicholas Holt decides he wants to leave, and then while he's going through the castle, as he's finding some locked doors, some not. He's trying to get out. He finds Orlok's coffin,
yeah,
and he's like, "Hey, I saw those Romani people stab this bitch while in his coffin. I'm gonna do that too."
yeah.
He does not commit fast enough. He opens the coffin. Boom, vampire dick. Not quite. Once he stands up, then you get vampire dick. But I'm gonna say vampire dick so many fucking times in this that YouTube's gonna reach out and be like, "Please stop saying vampire dick." Specifically, those two words paired together. Please stop saying that in your films. But he goes to stab him, and he kind of stops at like the last second, and then this is when Orlok wakes up and just does this cool fucking straight up shot in his coffin. Nicholas Holt goes back. He more or less chases him out of the castle. He six wolves after him. Nicholas Holt's like, "All right, cool," and then fucking yeets himself out of a window. And then that's pretty much it for the Orlok Castle now. We do have a flashback later on where we see a bit more of particularly this scene go on, but I figured that would save us from having to because it is, with it being intercut, it's kind of like when we did Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of hard to say at what point you're back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does go out of the castle. He gets picked up by a group of nuns, kind of like downriver a little ways. And this is where we start getting a little bit more information about Orlok. Was supposedly like a wizard of some kind, signed a pact with the devil. That's how he became Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, you should not do that. You should not be around him."
Yeah.
And then also at this point is when Orlok actually leaves to go to Germany.
Yeah.
He does go on his ship. This is sort of the last voyage of the Demeter, but not the last voyage of the Demeter.
It's a speed run of the last voyage of the Demeter.
Pretty much.
So he's on the ship. He is just kind of feeding off of each of the crew members as they come, and a couple of crew members try to come and like end the thing. I think they dig and root through his coffin and try to like shoot him or something.
And they do it at night.
And he's
Just
hiding.
Stupid.
And it's a really cool sequence, a really good like suspenseful sequence where like that he's hiding back inside the hanging whatever that's back there. But
and with him being below deck on a ship, a lot of dark places to hide, a lot of cool shots you can get from here, and Eggers takes advantage of all of them.
And this is the first sort of hint you get of the rats motif that follows Orlok, which really plays into the motif of he's bringing a plague to wherever he goes. At the same time now, Innocent has severely drugged.
We're coming up on my favorite character. Go ahead.
And she's ranting and raving in the same way that Canuck is about he's coming, he's gonna be here, and she's having her seizures and her fits. And so Innocent's like, "There's not much else I can do about this, but
let me consult the master."
There is somebody who I used to learn from, who was a professor when I was in school, who I can consult, who might know more about this. And so he goes into Visburg and he sees Professor von Franz.
I was like, "Do you know the full name?"
I don't know his first name.
Albin Eberhard von Franz.
There you go.
A Swiss scientist who is literally in his little apartment doing drugs, having a good time surrounded by his cats. If that's not the dream life, I don't fucking know what is. Like, this dude's living life to the fullest.
He is a sort of a disgraced doctor because he does still believe in the occult and the darkness and the shadows within. Whereas the scientific community at this time is very much like, no, we can't do any of that. We're modern now, even though we don't know anything about germ theory and everything.
Yeah.
So,
It is an interesting contrast between the two of them because you've got one who's like, I am science to the nth degree, but I am encountering something that I don't know what to do about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to see him throughout the film. You know what? He's the main character. Really, his progression. He's not the main character, but it is nice that he is able to kind of open his mind a bit to be like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know that you do, but you very confidently think you do, so I'm going to go along with it. And fucking turns out he was fucking right about fucking everything.
Yeah. In the meantime, he also drags Aaron Taylor Johnson, Friedrich, along with him.
Dude, some of the fucking scenes with him where, like, this two scientists are having this conversation, and Aaron Taylor Johnson's just like, y'all are fucking weird. This is weird. Everything's weird. And I'm like, I can roll with this.
None of this makes sense. You're all crazy.
Yeah. Some of their interactions are, I think, not unintentionally hilarious. And I know that Eggers meant them to be funny, but there are some of the lines and deliveries where I would like, the characters themselves would not think this is funny, but us, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That's good shit. This is. See, I'm telling you, this is the buddy cop movie I would watch. I'd watch 10 films of this shit. I love this.
They bring Von Franz back to see Ellen, and they have a little discussion about what's going on. And in the middle of it, Ellen starts to have one of her fits. And this is, I think, where a lot of Lily Rose Depp's work goes into it, because there's no CGI or anything going on. Like, her contorting,
it's pretty scary.
Else, it's her.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a point where she's vibrating so fast that it's like a blur. Like, there's a motion blur. Like, it's impressive stuff. Whatever else you feel about some of her acting in this moment.
This shit's scary.
Like, it's,
when she fucking rolls her eyes back in her head. Gross. It looks
and
so weird.
And kudos to her, and I think it's there's some form of like Japanese ballet or something that she
got me on that.
I don't know. There's some sort of like dance and ballet that she worked with to be able to work and contort her body like this. So kudos to her for that work. She convulses in full like exorcist fashion, like she's full on like possessed by Orlok at times in this.
Yeah,
and
that is a very good comparison with The Exorcist.
Yeah.
That's very good. That's a good way to describe it. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie. How did I not think about that? It's like one of my favorites. How the fuck did I not catch that?
So in the middle of all of this, they also had a scene where they went to where Friedrich, as the head of like the ports and whatnot, and this shipping guy gets called to the port, and Orlok's ship has crashed, and a bunch of rats have started to come off onto the shore. So this is the arrival of Orlok and the beginning of the plague that he brings with him. Then we see maybe one of the dumbest characters in the movie, because we got back to the asylum, and Canuck is doing his ranting and his raving and everything else, and this guy who's just the keeper of
just
the
guards,
the guard, is drawn into Canuck, and Canuck is, I guess, faking a fit or something like that, and so he's kicked his chair over, so the guard leans down to pick up the chair. And he goes to lift it up, and Canuck is just like turns around and like I can't remember. Does he bite his?
I think he bites his neck.
Bite into his neck, and
he like bites a chunk too. Yeah.
So
what a dum dum.
Yeah, guard's dead. Canuck's gone, and he runs off to go like, my master is here. He
skips away, and even with 4 people in the audience, this was the loudest laugh of the entire fucking movie. Because I was thinking about, dude, every time I see someone skip, I think about the dude in Hunchback. I'm free. I swear I think of that every time. And this dude, this like kind of chubby old guy who's like still kind of half naked,
Yeah.
is just like skipping down the It is fucking hilarious.
He's free. He's gonna go meet up with his master because his master is in town now.
Yep.
And so,
yeah. So we've got a lot of things kind of going on. Orlok shows up to Ellen and says, we're meant to be together. I can prove that your husband doesn't love you. He signed a document saying tradesies and that I can have you now. And she's like, no, that can't be true. And it is, a document that literally voids their marriage.
Yeah.
So he then tells her, you will be with me and no one else. Also, you have 3 days.
You have 3 days to come to your senses and be with me, or else I will kill everyone you love and I will finish off with Thomas.
Yep.
So, at the same time, Thomas, who is very sickly, has ridden off from the convent on a horse, and he arrives at this same moment.
Yep.
In time, and so he's being slowly nursed back to health by Ellen and co.
I like that.
Then
it's sort of like we're gonna speed run the next little bit because it's a lot of little things that happen.
Yeah.
So he is back from the convent. That's a weird statement in the middle of all this. He's back from the convent. They're trying to get him a little better. There are a lot of smaller conversations that are had about like, what are we gonna do? The plague is spreading. Oh my God, blah blah blah. There is a thing where Ellen is in bed with her friend, who is Jesus Christ. It's so hard to say character names versus like actor names. So Emma Corrin, so Anna Harding, they're in bed together, and there's this thing where like Ellen wakes up and she hears a noise. She's like, what is that? And she rolls over. Dude, fucking Ellen's just watching her fucking friend be like chewed on by rats.
Yeah.
And Anna Harding's just sort of laying there.
Well, this is right directly after Orlok has shown up in that dream and given her the 3 days ultimatum.
Yeah.
So it's already implied that he kind of has the ability to control how people react and everything else, and sort of have that subtle connection. It also is that Anna is based off of Lucy from the original novel, who also goes under the thrall of Dracula.
Yeah.
So there's that.
It's
so now she's infected with the plague, quote unquote, from being eaten by the rats. At this point, von Franz is still desperately trying to convince Friedrich that, hey, this crazy stuff is happening. This is Nosferatu. Like, you gotta put up or shut up and play the game, man.
Yeah.
So,
also in the middle of all this is when you have the scene that annoys the hell out of me. The world's going to shit. The plague is taking over. People are dying. Our friends are being chewed on. Ellen's like, you know what we should do? We should bang right fucking now. And then she like trash talks Nicholas Hoult into a hate boner, and they go at it. And that's when I'm like, I feel we've lost the plot a bit.
I don't. This is a bit of a weirder scene in terms of everything.
This is also where, for me, her like the way that she does her physicality, for me here, I think it's too much. I think it goes a bit into overacting here.
Okay. So yeah, this scene, I go back and forth on it in terms of how I feel it needs to be interpreted, because in one case it could be interpreted that she's like trying to get Thomas to like in some way prevail over Orlok's influence over her.
With Dick.
Yeah, basically. Because, I mean, Orlok was her first lover, quote unquote. But Thomas is the one that she does truly love and care for, as opposed to Orlok. The other interpretation is that this is all Orlok controlling her in some way, and like further taunting and like just messing with Nicholas Hoult. In like, and that would be the reason that it would lead to like, okay, you are not better than him in terms of your. I don't know. There's so many different ways you can interpret and look at this scene in particular and this movie in general.
I just don't like
Like
any
it's
of
just
them.
I get it.
This scene is officially where I'm like, I don't think this is for me. And then later on when he's like laughing maniacally with fire, I'm like, this is for me. Favorite scene in the movie, hands down.
You're just here for Willem Dafoe at this point.
I mean, yeah.
So
Ralph's still here. I like him.
Yeah.
So so that does happen. Then we get, oh boy, the monster under the bed comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it the wife then the kids, or is the kids then the wife? I think it's the kids. The wife opens the door and then.
So Nosferatu puts
Orlok.
Yeah. No, Orlok puts his influence over Harding because Harding's like, I'm going to protect my family. At this point, I think this is where he's like sent Ellen and Nicholas Hoult away so that they can try to distance themselves from whatever madness Ellen has. Because at this point, Friedrich's just like, you are the cause of all of my pain.
You came into our house. Everything went to shit. My wife got attacked by rats. Fuck off. Get out.
Yeah.
He still says it in a much nicer way than that. But.
Yeah. So he's laying in bed with Anna, and he's got his gun. Orlok, his shadow, comes over and is like, you will not wake, or something like that. Like, you'll just keep sleeping, to Friedrich. And then Anna wakes up and hears screaming from the kids' room. And so she runs into the room, bursts through the doors, and you just get this shot of Orlok. He's got one in his hand, and he's drinking the blood from the one kid. And I think the other one's already laying on the ground. Yeah,
I think he's got one like on the ground, and as she goes in, I think he chomps when she opens the door.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, he just ate that kid.
And you can hear him like drinking and everything else. Like whenever Orlok is drinking from somebody, there's this very like unsettling gulping sound that comes in. And it's especially unsettling here because it is a kid that is being fed off of. And it's like, and so then he just drops her like a sack of potatoes.
A fucking sack of potatoes. Jesus, you're like, God, dude.
And he turns menacingly towards Anna. Anna screams, but like, what do you do at that point? And so now everybody's dead except for Friedrich. And
yeah, seriously, Orlok's like, you know what? Fuck that guy. I'm gonna leave him alone, alive in this family.
Yeah,
because killing all of them, not evil enough. The children in front of the mom, fuck her up at the very end, and then all of them being found by the dad, even better. Like, Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time there, Satan.
So then you get the funeral scene where the little baby coffins are getting carried out of the house, very much an homage to the original Nosferatu. And you see all three coffins. You get to the funeral. Friedrich's very much,
beside
just
himself.
Like, he's destroyed. Like, what else can he have?
This is, dude. Aaron Taylor Johnson is one of my personal favorite actors. Yeah. I just enjoy him in. I kind of liked him, and then I saw Bullet Train. I'm like, okay, no, I fucking love this guy. But dude, him going from like the kind of bravado type, lovable dude in the beginning to how fucking broken of a soul he is at the end of it. Fuck, dude, that's some good shit.
And that's why I was gonna say, I know we talked about how Lily Rose Depp's performance is kind of like divisive amongst people who've watched the film. Aaron Taylor Johnson's is also a bit divisive because a lot of people will see him as like over the top or just like very. Like,
I think the last thing he does in it, I'm like, okay, that's a bit weird.
But and then they'll also be like, okay, he's not really portraying a lot of emotion throughout most of the movie. He's just sort of very patrician and very everything else. But that's the subtlety of, that's Victorian era.
Yeah, I think that would be very appropriate for a man of that age.
So
I never questioned it.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance in this is
but
very
work,
much like underrated, I feel like, in terms of this movie.
Yeah, him at the end, like even in the middle of a horror movie, seeing him at the funeral like genuinely made me sad.
Yeah.
Like it really hit me.
And you actually, I think this is where you first get the hints of like he has the little like
Mhm.
marks, so you can tell he's also been hit by the
Infected,
plague
yeah.
and infected.
Also, importantly, where they're being buried, it's in the middle of a cemetery, but it's in like a crypt
Yeah,
that they have for.
yeah, he's got like a mausoleum or something.
Mausoleum's a lot better than crypt.
Yeah.
I feel like a crypt is a haunted mausoleum. I went with the more evil version of it, but yeah, a mausoleum. So it's in the middle of a graveyard, but it is very much like these people had money. You can see their little building for
Yeah.
their things. But yeah,
He goes off on Ellen again because Ellen and the whole crew are there to like try to wish him.
every time you say the whole crew, it kills me. Ellen and the gang.
Ellen and the whole crew are there to try to console him and everything else, and he's just once again his rage comes up and he blames Ellen for everything.
Yeah,
And like again, Aaron Taylor Johnson putting in the work in this moment. And,
yeah.
he's being held back from like physically rushing Ellen at some points in this by I think it's Thomas and Innocent.
I think so. And yeah, Nicholas Holt's character, honestly, from the time he gets back, he's never at like full strength. He's kind of like limping around a bit. There's a scene later on where he's like trying to run and he looks like he's like trying to run with like sea legs.
Yeah.
Like he's a little fucked up. But yeah, they do hold him back and they kind of calm him down. And I feel like this is really where Willem Dafoe kind of takes over.
Yeah, this is very much Willem Dafoe's movie now at this point because they get after the funeral's done, they get in the carriage back, and it's almost like I don't know if he's just sort of passively doing it now and going along with it, or if he actually like buys into it for a second. Friedrich,
Yeah,
because he's like going along with the plan of like, okay, I gotta help get this creature figured out.
yeah.
I don't know.
He looks so glazed over that I
Yeah.
read it as he's just killing time for him to get back and end the way he's going to end.
So
That's how I read it, at least.
yeah. So this is where they start to plan their final sort of attack. They found Canucks sort of books and everything else, and they've learned that sunlight. That the first
Sunlight can hurt or kill him.
can hurt or kill him.
They find him out about the coffins and the dirt.
Yeah.
And, the typical Dracula lore stuff.
Yeah, so they come up with this plan to have von Franz, Innocent, and Nicholas Holt go. We're always all over the place with the names and the characters.
You are literally the only one. I have actors' names 100%.
But they make a plan that they're going to all get together right before sundown that night to go to
the house that he was going to sell him earlier.
Yeah, the house that he was going to sell.
It's got a name, but I don't even know if I can pronounce it.
It's got a chapel in it, and they assume that that's where he would put the crypt, the coffin that he has to stay in and return to, because they're going to destroy the coffin, or at least if he's still in there, stake him.
I looked up the name for the manor. I was correct. I could not pronounce that. Like Grunwald. Nope. There are weird symbols over those letters. I don't know. Sorry. Yes.
But then they stop at von Franz's place and drop him off so that he can prepare for the night. And he asks Ellen to walk him to his door.
Probably my favorite character interaction in this.
Yeah, because we find out this is all a ruse just to get Thomas out of the way, to get Nicholas Holt out of the way, so that he can do what really needs to be done, which is like this entire time von Franz has been realizing that like Ellen is the key to all of this, to stopping the plague, to saving everybody, to saving Thomas. So he's figured out by now that she's the key to everything because she has the connection to Nosferatu and
Warlock.
Yes,
It's just because they say the Nosferatu. Like I said, that's literally like if we just kept saying the vampire.
Yeah. So she has the connection to Orlok. She is the one that has to be the one to do this and all that. And Ellen has come to the same conclusion. Like, this started with me, it has to end with me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they have this really nice, frank discussion about how, like, yeah, this is the last time we're gonna see each other. You're gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do.
You say that. They kind of beat around the bush a bit. They do
Yeah.
not directly say that. It's
Yeah.
very much a lot of unspoken moments between them.
Yeah,
And there's a certain sadness that he has because he knows what he's asking her to do.
yeah.
This is good shit, man.
It's a really great scene. The line that he gives her as he's leaving about how in another life she would have been a priestess of Isis, I think it was.
You got me on that one.
But just again plays to this sort of like otherworldly connection she has, and this sort of like position she's been put in by her lot in life.
Yeah. So really the goal right now is for them to just keep Thomas away from her while she does what needs to be done.
Yeah, because they, Thomas isn't going to allow her to willingly sacrifice herself to do anything. He's going to try to find another way.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to lie. If it were me, I probably would have knocked him out. He's not putting up much of a fight at this point anyway. You got two other kind of big guys. I'd just knock his ass out.
yeah, fair enough, I suppose.
The guys get together. No Ellen, just the guys. And they're like, Friedrich's not here. We need his help. Let's go find him.
Yeah. Friedrich's made his way back to the mausoleum.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a good way for us to say.
And he's very much portrayed as being very much sick with the plague, like he's
out of his mind, kind of sick.
He's very much out of, like, he's on those last legs at this point. And
all right, look.
He
earlier in the movie when we first meet he and his wife, he is talking. I mentioned earlier about how he cannot keep his hands off of her. He's a very sexual guy.
Yeah.
That did not necessarily go away.
Yeah, he mourns briefly over his children, and then he goes to her coffin, opens it up, and starts to.
Yeah, and then the next time they find him, he's dead. Okay, cool.
Great, thanks. And so the guys find him there. He's dead now, along with them. And so to spare their souls and everything else, and help to kill the plague, they set the mausoleum on fire, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, their story is very efficiently wrapped up. Effectively, not efficiently.
We end up seeing now a sort of Orlok wakes up. It's the third night, as he promised. This was the night he was going to take care of Thomas.
I just imagine Orlok like wake up, do the big finger crack, time to fuck up some bitches.
In the midst of it, Ellen is preparing herself to call upon Nosferatu. I know I did it again. Ellen is preparing herself to call upon Orlok to help fulfill that part of the plan, and the remaining men, Von Franz, and then Ralph Ineson and Nicholas Holt, all get onto a boat in a canal that's going towards the old mansion that they know that Orlok is in.
It is very much the house on the hill scene.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I wonder which house is haunted. It's literally like the fucking house in Beetlejuice. Like, it is clearly the haunted one.
But it's a really cool shot here with them going down the canal. They're all on the boat. They got the torch. Innocent is just paddling the canoe oars. All of this is visual effects. They're not actually on a stream in that moment.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
I think it also helps that it's dark.
Yeah,
you probably have
dark.
to hide a lot of that too.
Dark lighting always helps with CG. So they get to the mansion.
Has she done the shutters thing by now?
I think she.
I think it's as they're going out the canal.
Yeah. So she opens up the shutters and she calls upon Orlok to come.
It is a cool thing where like the hands open the shutters. It's a cool shot. She's just so pale.
Yeah. And she does her little reaching out and is like, "Come to me," thing,
Yeah.
looking very ethereal in that way.
And his exact line is, "Bitch, ain't gotta tell me twice."
They arrive
The manor.
at the manor, and they go to the crypt where they or the chapel where they expect that the thing is. Floor covered in rats.
So
Just-
many non-CGI rats.
Like there's a lot of actual like trained rats. I think they said they used like 2,000 trained.
Oh, I thought it was like
rats.
5.
No, there's like 2,000 trained.
No,
rats.
not 5. 5,000.
Oh, okay.
No, not 5 rats. Yeah, they have 5 rats, and they just like made them run like crazy.
Yeah.
So many stories about like when they had him in the coffin with Orlok, and Skarsgård is like, "Bro, I've got rats crawling on me, and like we're having to do this shot 3 or 4 times." Nicholas Hoult keeps apologizing because we have to do it again. I got rats crawling on me. But yeah, they are very well trained. Because I remember this thing on like a talk show or something about, these are all trained rats? Yeah, my God, who had them prepared? Like, yeah, you imagine the guy who was like the rat trainer being like, finally, we get to use all of the rats we've trained. This is great.
Yeah. So they traipse through the rats, and they get to the crypt. They're just ready to go. They're gonna like Nicholas.
They know
Hoult,
exactly what to do.
It's Nicholas Hoult 2.0, and is Hutter the one who does the staking again in this, or was it Einison?
I was thinking it was Hutter, but it's pretty inconsequential.
So they do like the countdown, like a 3, 2, 1 sort of thing. They nod to each other. They pull the top of the thing off, jam the stake down in, and they get somebody.
Yeah.
Not Orlok.
It's Ellen. Oh my God. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Ellen.
No, it's Canuck, who is, I guess Orlok ordered him to stay in his coffin, or like I don't know. Canuck is just kind of.
I saw something online that people were like, he was just sleeping. I was like, I don't know. I think it's kind of like Orlok was like, let me get rid of this annoying dude at the same time as.
Yeah. Because Canuck is just a means to an end. He's the true Renfield character of this movie. He served his purpose to help facilitate Orlok getting to Visburg, and now he is gone. Orlok thinks he's going. Not Orlok. It's so funny because Canuck says, "I was going to be his prince of rats."
Canuck's a weird dude.
Yeah. Every time I hear that line, it makes me think of the Nutcracker, man.
Oh my God. That's fair. I didn't think about that, but that's fair.
But so yeah, Canuck is dead.
Womp womp, rip Canuck.
And so now this is where we get the homage to the classic Nosferatu movie scene that I feel like everybody at least knows about or has an inkling of in some way. Where the shadows are cast on the wall as he climbs up the stairs. Here they play with it a bit more. So the shadows are creeping along the walls and everything else. You get the famous shot of him with the long fingers and the pointy ears and stuff like that crawling up. And then the hand as a shadow reaches up to unlock the door and open it up, and Ellen's just standing there waiting, dressed in all white, and she's got her hair done up and everything, like it's a wedding day, of sorts.
And then they bone down hard. They bone so hard there are going to be casualties. I'm not wrong though.
So as they start to bone down, as we
get the greatest film moment in cinematic history, where Willem Dafoe is getting to be the most Willem Dafoe. At this point, Nicholas Holt's like, "Oh my God, what happened? This is crazy." And Willem Dafoe is like, "Now, my master plan." And he basically explains, like, "No, we were not here to stop him. That is not our role in the story to play.
Yeah.
We are here to destroy everything here to make sure he has nothing to come back to.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't get back into the ground, he's doomed. So we're killing his respawn point.
Yeah.
And that's that's our goal here, is to kill the respawn point. So he starts just dousing everything in accelerant. I don't know if it's fuel, gasoline, oil, whatever. And Nicholas Holt's like, no, what are you talking about? We gotta go save her. And he's like, no, that's not our job. And then he lights it. And it's this, the fucking, oh my God, the shot with like him laughing like a maniacal madman while
Yeah.
rats scurry away from the fire while he's holding the torch and the flames build. Bro, fuck yes. 10 out of 10. Greatest film of all time. Fucking love this shit.
In the midst of all that Willem Dafoe madness and goodness, Nicholas Holt has taken off running, trying to get back to the house so that he can stop Ellen and save her.
And see, I'm just like, bro, what are you gonna do when you get? You know, Orlok's there. He will bitch slap you into oblivion. What are you going to accomplish?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, he's just trying to do what he's got to do to try to save the woman he loves.
I'd have probably just like sat there and be like, huh, that sucks.
And then, yeah, the rest of the movie is just Orlok like
boning down and feeding kind of at the same time.
He tries to break away at one point, and because I guess he senses that the sun is starting to rise.
Yeah.
And then Ellen brings him back one last time for it, and he just can't get enough. He has to keep going.
See, I'm curious if it is, because earlier is when he did say the thing about an appetite. I'm a little curious in the read here between, because he does have that moment where he pulls away and he like looks and you can tell that he knows.
Yeah.
I'm curious if it really was that he just gave in to the appetite even more and like couldn't leave, or if maybe this was because the way that she gets him back is not like a forceful, it's like a very kind caressing. I'm kind of curious if maybe he kind of gives in, because he says earlier in the movie that like this isn't like love, but I'm just kind of curious here if maybe there is a certain level of he knows, but he doesn't care because he's with her. So he's like, we're both going to go out together type thing.
Mm.
I don't think so. I've seen some people say it, but the only thing that kind of makes me be a little is that she did not like wrench his head back. The fact that it was a very like lover's caress type thing. I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, but at the same time, is she doing that just because she knows that that's going to get his attention back better than trying to like wrench him back?
I think so, but if he knows, if he's just an appetite and he wants the appetite to keep going, he can't die.
Yeah.
But he knows what's about to happen if he stays.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, I don't know. I think I could see it going either way. Again, it's kind of an inconsequential thing. It doesn't really matter. But
it's all down to how you personally interpret the movie in the moment, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is, if there's anything about this movie, it's a lot of people have a lot of different reads and interpretations about it.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea a little bit more that he sort of chose to go out with her. I think it's a little bit of a nicer ending for both of them. I can roll with it.
I guess that depends on if you feel like Orlok deserves a nicer ending. But
he doesn't do anything bad. He only eats kids. It's fine.
The sun rises and Orlok turns and sees the sun rise. And for just a moment, then Ellen once again rises to sort of like draw his attention, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe like, again, it's up to interpretation. Is it a, hey, come back? Or is it a, hey, look at what I made you do sort of thing? Like, hey, I got you. But I don't know.
See, the only thing with her as well, she never expresses any like hatred toward him. Like even right after he dies, she's still like holding him. She's not like, ew, gross, get off of me.
I mean, with what strength would she have left when he's drained her of all of her blood?
She still got some movement left. She was boning 8 seconds ago. Well, she was kind of laying there at that point. But I don't know, man. I think it's very much I think she has affection for him. I do. I think she has more for Nicholas Holt. She wants to break away from the ex. But
I don't know.
It's just everything she does. It does not strike me as she knows he has to be stopped, but she's not trash talking him. She doesn't seem disgusted with him.
I don't know. I feel like there are moments throughout the movie where there's some disgust shown.
I don't know. She pushes back about the idea of him owning her.
Yeah.
And saying, no, I'm not with you anymore. I'm with him now. And he's like, bitch, please. I don't know. I in rewatching it, I don't think I read anything with her as like disgust or hatred, anger, but not. I don't know. That's
Again,
just me.
it's up to interpretation.
Mine's right, yours is wrong, but it's fine.
Everybody can interpret differently. How many times have we said already on this channel? You like what you like, and you read what you read.
Yeah.
So
I will say, speaking of what we like, though, in the original Nosferatu, I love that when the light hits him, he just goes, ah, poof. In this, it's a little more drawn out.
yeah, in this he starts to bleed from his eyes and his mouth and everything, and
his
like,
body starts finding more orifices to bleed from.
He shrinks and shrivels up and everything else, and that's the end of Orlok and Ellen. Thomas arrives just as everything finishes up and Orlok dies. He gets one final little moment to like squeeze Ellen's hand, and then Innocent and Von Franz show up a short bit of time later. Von Franz picks up Greta, the cat, and looks out the window. This is the first like bright bit of like warmth and sunlight in the entire movie, which is very much like top notch filmmaking there.
Waiting for right at the end.
And then I love the shot of Von Franz looking out the window, just bathed in the sunlight. It's almost like, okay, we've got this heavenly glow about us now, but everything is okay and peaceful, and there's no more evil going on here. And then you get that final stark shot that's very evocative of the death of the maiden, where it's just the final shot is Orlok and Ellen lying dead together, covered in blood and lilacs on the bed, and then it cuts to black.
Finite. I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. Certainly worth a watch.
Yeah.
Again, not my favorite thing, but the things that I dislike, I don't think are bad. I just don't like them.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Now, I will say that I like slow burn movies once in a while. They do not tend to be my favorite.
Yeah.
I can only think of one particular. It's particularly horror movies. If it's a slow burn movie, it's not a horror movie, it doesn't have a big payoff at the end, I'm a little then the movie's just slow.
Yeah.
But like Lake Mungo is one I always fucking think of. That is like, I think, king of the slow burn movies, where the whole time you're like, what the fuck? And then at the end you're like, what the fuck? That one I think pays off well. This one I think is good. It's just a little too slow too often for me.
Yeah. And then it loses you a little bit right there in the middle with sort of the slowdown in the action.
Yeah, the weird anger boning thing. I'm just like, guys, really? Let's keep going.
It all works for me personally, but I will agree. It might be a little too slow at times. The pacing could be just slightly picked up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me. I've watched this movie 7 or 8 times now. Like I think I said earlier, at least I thought I was going to say it. This was probably my favorite movie from last year. And it was pretty close. There were other things that are like right there with it.
Yeah.
But I love this. This is probably, I need to watch The Lighthouse again just to sort of look at it. It's definitely at least number 2 in terms of Eggers' films for me, which I think you said it was also yours, having not seen The Northman.
I haven't seen The Northman, but so we've seen the same 3 of the 4?
Yeah.
Well, fuck. And we just swapped 2 of them. So you like The Witch more?
Then
you said that Nosferatu was your second?
No, The Lighthouse is probably I got to watch The Lighthouse again.
It's great.
Really sort of, yeah.
It is.
But
it's just an excellent film.
Yeah. I don't think, again, not having seen The Northman, Eggers hasn't missed. They're all excellent films.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of which ones do you like more.
Yeah. And I really, really like the cast that they got for this, because this is one of those movies where the movie was in some level of production for so fucking long.
Yeah.
Like Anya Taylor-Joy was supposed to be in it. Originally, Eggers had talked about like Mads Mikkelsen for Orlok or Daniel Day-Lewis, which interesting. Poor Bill Skarsgård just wanted to be in this film so fucking bad. He just kept getting moved around in roles in this film.
Yeah, for the longest time he was going to be Hutter, and then it was like, well, we've been in production for so long now. You want to be Orlok instead, which
Well, it was originally Hutter, and then it was Aaron Taylor Johnson's character.
Oh yeah.
And then it was like I think I saw something where he like wrote a letter to Eggers being like, please put me in this movie, please, I want to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And then what was surprising when I was looking into some of this stuff is that Willem Dafoe was added, I feel like, surprisingly late.
Yeah.
Compared to everyone else, which to me, I'm joking about being a Willem Dafoe fanboy. It is hard for me to imagine this film without him as that character.
Yeah.
It is hard to imagine anyone else selling that the way that he did.
Well, I wonder if that is more along the lines of they just did not have the Von Franz character to begin with, and then as the script evolved, they added in the Von Franz character. But,
maybe.
Because Von Franz was not in the original Nosferatu at all. They didn't have sort of the Van Helsing character to sort of help explain everything and be sort of the conduit of the occult and the supernatural element of the film.
Yeah.
Partially because that wasn't really the focus of the original Nosferatu. But
we'll also say, talking about the release of the film, there's the idea that to have a film be profitable, you got to make 2.5 times your budget. This one did. Budget of around $50 million, and the box office was $181.
Yeah, this I think is probably Robert Eggers' most financially successful film. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know that. I would be shocked if it wasn't. The only one I don't know about is fucking Northman.
Yeah,
that's like the one that I'm not 100% sure about. But while you keep talking, let me look it up.
I'm pretty sure this was
becoming his highest grossing film.
Yeah,
son of a bitch. Again, it'd be weird if it wasn't.
Yeah,
this was a film I knew of people that I had never heard talk about a horror movie ever were going to see this movie.
Yeah.
Obviously not the other 2 people that went with us the day after Christmas, but also fucking ballsy of this to release on Christmas Day. How the hell have we not talked about that shit yet?
Yeah, that was a choice, but at the same time, like, for a long time, especially in like Victorian England and stuff like that, ghost stories and scary stories were very much intrinsically linked to Christmas, because it was believed, as they say in like A Christmas Carol, that the veil is thinner at times like Christmas, where it's more spiritually open. So
I do a lot of theater stuff with a group called Postmortem Players, and we always do Christmas Spirits every year, which is always ghost stories around Christmas time.
So that's it's kind of in that tradition, and also this movie kind of takes place at Christmas.
Yeah,
so it makes sense at the same time. Like,
some people got a lot of gifts for Christmas they did not want.
Yeah, especially the Hardings.
Okay. Good movie, good cast, fucking magnificent shots in this. I think it's a good time. I definitely think it's worth a watch. But yeah, let us know if you saw this, especially if you saw this in theaters. When did you see this in theaters?
Yeah,
I'm very curious of who saw this on Christmas Day. I'm so interested in that one.
When did you see it in theaters? What was the reaction of the people who saw it in theaters with you? Was there anybody in the theater with you? Like, I want to know if it was like a mic drop moment at the end, or if people were like, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode of Nosferatu. We are back at it with both of us together. Sorry for the single episode chaos that we had.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff come up the last few weeks that stopped us, and as we've mentioned before, in addition to our main episodes like this, we do have other things that we might be dropping from time to time that'll be coming down the pipe. So stick with us, and hopefully we will run into less complications as we go forward. But until then,
I'm Bradley.
And I'm Brendan.
And this has been Story Proof.